It's 2200 hours in Banjul, and from GRTS, this is the news, broadcasting live for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. In the headlines, crisscrossing the length and breadth of the country, President Adama Barrow continues his Meet the People tour with meetings in the Lower River region. The Minister of Agriculture reveals a massive investment plan by government to boost agricultural production with a staggering $80 million project for agricultural development. The Minister of Lands inaugurates a magnificent multipurpose facility by Koina Charity Association, the Gambia. Stakeholders validate a multi-sectoral document on the National Tobacco Control Policy 2021-2025. Plus, senior personnel of the Gambia Police Force honed their skills on environmental legislation, courtesy of the National Environment Agency. And in other news, Nigeria expected to experience acute food insecurity as food preserve continue to decline along running space of conflicts. Well, these and much more coming ahead in this edition of the news with me, Aissatou Keita, and thanks for joining us. Well, we begin this bulletin with a media release from the State House. The President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, GMRG, is pleased to declare the following days as public holidays throughout the Gambia in observance of the Christmas feast. Friday, 25th December 2020 as Christmas Day, Saturday, 26th December 2020 as Boxing Day, and Friday, 1st January 2021 as New Year's Day. In this regard, His Excellency President Adama Barrow and the First Family wish all Christians in the Gambia a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance, and reminds them to always live by and emulate the noble virtues of peaceful coexistence and tolerance as taught by Jesus Christ. Now moving on, after more than 2 weeks of meetings and public engagements across much of rural Gambia, President Barrow continues the Meet the People tour with meetings in the Lower River region. The President and his entourage had the chance to listen to development needs of the citizenry whilst unveiling plans for new development initiatives. Well, in another, meanwhile, the Minister of Agriculture, Ami Fabre, has said that an $80 million project for agricultural development will soon be launched by the Gambia government. Massive government investment in the agriculture sector has been constantly measured by the President Adama Barrow in the ongoing Meet the People tour as one of his government's efforts to boost agricultural production in the country. The Agri Minister explains the project in detail in this interview with GRTS's Momori S. Jallo. Let's take a listen.
This $80 million project is IFAD-funded project. No, we have a NEMA project that was a 6-year project, and that one has phased out. And now we are able to have the $80 million project so that to improve our farming in this country. Yeah, because Gambia here, 75% of our rural people, their livelihood is from agriculture. So based on that, this $80 million project will boost agricultural crop production and the productivity in the area of rice production, vegetables, and even small remnants, and the dikes construction, and even road. But come January 2021, we're going to launch the project. It will start.
Where would it be invested?
It's cross-cutting, ranging from rice production, vegetable production, small ruminants, even matching grant, whereby you can empower women and the youth to have access to funds so that they can also invest on agriculture. That will also improve at least youth employment. Yeah.
$30 million project obviously is a huge project. How would it impact or how would it contribute to boosting the agricultural sector?
That's going to improve a lot in agriculture, because the areas I mentioned, it will improve the livelihood of our small-scale farmers, because we want to make sure that farmers see agriculture as commercial production, because their livelihood depends on agriculture. So obviously their life will be improved. Many farmers were saying that this year agricultural production and productivity has been increased. Yes, they are facing some challenges, especially the women farmers, most of them are eager to have vegetable garden schemes. But I'm telling you, across the country, we have almost 554 communal garden schemes in this country. And that all of them are engaged in horticultural crop production, that's vegetable production. Yes, we will increase the vegetable production in this country, because if they hear that there is a project coming, most of them, they always request. Even a small village with 5 compounds or few, they will ask for vegetable gardens. But we'll address some of their issues. And we'll make sure that agricultural crop production in the area of vegetable, rice, small ruminant, to name few, even processing, it will be addressed. Yeah. So some of the challenges, I want to assure them that it will be addressed, because some of them are saying that they need machines, milling machines. In fact, during the dry season, we distributed a lot of machines. Almost 106 communities received these milling machines. But nonetheless, still we'll add our effort so that at least they can have enough milling machines, so that at least it will reduce drudgery on women. For over 50 years, we used to provide tractors for farmers, but this time around, it's going to be different, because we want to ensure that these 50 tractors are sustained, because we cannot give out these 50 tractors like that. At the end of the day, they will come back and request more tractors again. So based on that, there will be a proper management with these tractors.
Agriculture Minister Ami Fabre there talking to GRTS Mauri S. Jallo on the sidelines of President Barrow's Meet the People tour. Well, in another development, the Koina Charity Association, the Gambia, also inaugurated a new structure comprising 2 office complexes, a conference room, 3 shops, and a guest room at a ceremony presided over by the Minister of Lands and Religious Affairs on behalf of the President. According to the organizers, funds generated from this facility will be used to support vulnerable school-going children, healthcare services, and provide clean drinking water, among a host of others. Our URR correspondent Seydou Kamara has the details.
The Koina Charity Association Gambia has inaugurated a newly constructed house meant to support vulnerable children, both in Arabic and conventional schools, provide clean drinking water and healthcare services by paying health bills for sick people who cannot afford it, and other related issues. The secretary of the Koina Charity Association, Isaka Toure, gave a brief history about the association.
Koina Charity Association is charity association we just organize is by Koinan people. We start in Koina here. Every 3 months, you can give what you want. There is no amount, and again, there is no by force. What you have, you give us. We just say, Alhamdulillah, now you see this building. We start this building between 1 year, 12 months, building has completed.
Mr. Toure said the building is constructed within a frame of 1 year due to the commitment and unity of the people of Koina, as well as the natives of Koina in the diaspora.
In this building, we spend more than $2 million in this building. This money is not from our account or our pocket. It's from the people. We get 3 shops, and here is a hall, conference hall. The last building is for guest house. If you come to Koina, you don't know anyone, you can contact Koina Charity Association.
After cutting the ribbon, the Minister of Lands and Religious Affairs, Musa Drame, who represented the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, at the ceremony hailed the people of Koina for the initiative.
It is very important to the community. It is also religiously, it is very important. Because according to the teachings of Islam, these are some of the good deeds that one receives blessing even after one's death. My advice first is to other Muslim brothers and sisters to emulate what has happened here today. And also another advice to the people who are responsible for this edifice, so that the proper maintenance of the facility is very important. Putting the structure together is one thing, and the most important thing is to maintain it properly.
The Minister of Lands further urged members of the association to take proper care of the infrastructure for its sustainability in order for it to serve its intended purpose.
This is a facility that, according to what we hear from them today, it is beneficial not only to Arabic school going children, but also English going children. Some of the people, particularly the students, who are unable to pay their tuition fees.
Scores of speakers, including the Vice President of the Supreme Islamic Council, Ibrahima Jeju, Sey Ali Jagana, the District Chief, Bacho Sise, Governor of the region, Sambaba, and among others, all commended members of the association for the gesture. The structure comprises 2 offices, 3 shops, a conference hall, and a guest rooms at the top floors of the building. According to organizers, the initiative is a community-based development meant to render support to the needy people in Koina and the Gambia at large. The initiative is also aimed at providing clean drinking water, sponsor school children both in Arabic and conventional schools, as well as provide healthcare services to the people. With the inauguration of this multi-purpose building, it is hoped that members and people of Koina, in particular, will take ownership of the facility by ensuring its proper maintenance for it to serve its purposes. Seydou Camara, reporting for GRTS News from Basse, Upper River Region.
Moving forward, the Gambia Women Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday organized its first annual general meeting. The event was graced by women entrepreneurs among other stakeholders. Sena Bujan has the details.
Established in January 2019, the mission and vision of the Women's Chamber is to provide opportunities and visibility for women in business. The move is also designed to ensure the women entrepreneurs educate, empower, mentor, and promote women's businesses, as well as building their capacities on record keeping, trade, and increase their economic opportunities.
Increase to women's access to finance and trade facilitation. We did the formalization of women-owned businesses according to the policy, which was formulated in 2019 and it runs to 2024. What we did that all MSEs in the Gambia are encouraged to register as formal enterprises following the decentralization of the single window business registration to the regions. Therefore, GWCC worked with over 20 women to register their businesses. We continue to encourage women to register their businesses, and we hold their hands and let them register because registration is a criteria for joining the GWCC.
GWCC has provided many opportunities for women businesses, which have helped beneficiaries foster stronger partnerships. They described 2019 and 2020 a period for trainings and international expos for the members. The members of the chamber shared their opinion on how beneficial the women's commerce has been for them and their businesses. Aji Jawara Sise said she has no regrets since joining the commerce and that all the gatherings have been very helpful. For other members, it has not been easy to handle women, especially the number of women that are registered with the chamber. Umi Fande Bajan thanked GWCC for the opportunity they've gained from the training. Supporting partners commended the efforts and partnership between the women and the chambers.
The partnership is just very young, and we're lucky to be part of it. And what we want to see, I know COVID has been an impediment this 2020 for every single business. And in 2021, inshallah, we'd like to see more collaborations with GWCC, whereby we'll collaborate with, for events for mutual benefits, both GAMCEL and GWCC.
Fatou Menga Jallo shared that the Gambia pilot program, She Trades, and the Women's Enterprise Fund is available to support women. Towards the end of the annual meeting, the report ending 31st December 2019 and the independent audit reports dating 17th of September 2020 were both moved and seconded to be adopted by the members. Zainabu Jain for GRTS News.
Well, similarly, the Network of Women on Peace and Security and its regional partners recently convened a day-long sensitization forum on the rights of migrants and domestic workers. The capacity enhancement program is funded by the African Women Development Fund. The initiative is aimed at enlightening participants on protocols and conventions protecting the rights of migrants and domestic workers amid the changing development dynamics. Usman Mane has the rest of that story.
amid increasing violation of rights of migrants and domestic workers across the globe. Commitments by many governments on protocols and conventions protecting these vulnerable groups are not fully domesticated. National laws are not adequately implemented to protecting their rights, including those in the informal sector. As part of advocacy works by right groups, the Network of Women, Peace and Security, ECOWAS, organized a day-long capacity building on laws governing the protection of migrants and domestic workers. Speaking at the event, the regional president, Network of Women, Peace and Security, Jagon Jai, highlighted challenges faced by migrants and domestic workers, including women and children, while noting the crucial role they play in the socio-economic development of countries. She appealed to government of the Gambia and Senegal to domesticate conventions protecting the rights of migrants and domestic workers. The president of the National Network of Women, Peace and Security, ECOWAS, Tabusar, explained the rationale behind the training.
It has been noted that the welfare, especially of migrant and domestic workers, are not respected. And there is a lot, they contribute a lot to in our households, as well as trying to earn a living decently. And by virtue of the fact that there is a convention that protects their rights, which is not known, so we think that it is important for us to mobilize funds and create awareness on it, particularly the stakeholders who are the domestic and the migrant workers.
She also highlighted some of the project intervention areas supported by African Women Development Fund.
Yes, part of the project is to do a research to know the prevalent rate of violence against domestic workers especially. Some of them have actually engaged in earning living by working in some of these countries that they migrate through, but have come home empty-handed and share with us that most of what they've earned have been left behind due to the disrespectful of their rights, but also due to other challenges such as not having legal papers as well. So, and I think it is important for, especially in the within the ECOWAS region, to understand that there are protocols, there are conventions that protect these rights.
Nena Toure of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare explained the efforts undertaken by government to address the plight of the vulnerable.
Resolution 189, which talks about the rights of migrants and domestic workers, has been ratified, but we still need to do more advocacy programs to domesticate it. Because if you look at it with the issue of migrants, a lot has been done. The SOP has been developed, and there are other follow-up activities coming after the SOP, and there is currently a referral mechanism. But if you look at the issue of domestic workers, people do talk about it slightly, but much has not been done in that area.
Usman Mane, GRTS.
Now, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and partner agencies, have organized a 3-day multi-sectoral review and validation workshop on the National Tobacco Control Policy 2021-2025. The forum seeks to establish a 100% smoke-free environment. Aissatou Jata Gassama has the details.
The National Tobacco Control Policy is an official government document containing a formal commitment to control the use of tobacco in the country. The 3-day review and validation exercise seeks to reduce the demand and supply of tobacco use and products to reverse the levels of morbidity and mortality rate from tobacco-related diseases.
71% of all deaths that happen in the world today as we speak are due to non-communicable diseases, mainly heart disease and stroke, of course, diabetes, cancers, and obstructive pulmonary disease. This is, lung disease, call it in short. So these are the primary 4 killers, and tobacco is a very important factor for all of them. It's only tobacco that has implications for all these 4 deaths. What we need to do now is to make sure that this policy document is translated into action. Action that will reduce the burden of tobacco use in this country.
Officials say tobacco epidemic is one of the highest public health threats in the world, killing more than 8 million people annually around the world. And according to health officials, this trend is expected to rise if effective control measures are not put in place or implemented.
nearly 1.2 million people die innocently. Innocently means they are not smokers, they are not active smokers, those who smoke cigarettes or those who use tobacco. But these are people who are dying because they are close to someone who is smoking. Coming back to our own country here, what is happening? We're also seeing, of course, there has been a decline, but still we have a problem. What we are seeing here is our adults, aged 16 years and above, male, female combined. We are seeing about 16% of those, they smoke.
The Gambia won 12 World Health Organization's World No Tobacco Day Awards, which demonstrates the country's commitment to tobacco control and abuse. Despite these achievements, officials say tobacco control still remains a huge challenge, undermining national efforts to successfully implement the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control and meet the Sustainable Development Goals targets.
These are the 4 big killers in the world. So what we are saying now, tobacco's contribution to non-communicable is about 24%, tobacco alone. So if you count all the deaths due to non-communicable diseases, tobacco alone contributes 24% or more. This is what the WHO's report for global death on tobacco for 2012, this is revelation for the Gambia. Of course, there are other countries.
Now we even have the Tobacco Control Act of 2016, and it is this very body that play pivotal role in having that act. So we once again commend you for that. The reason why we are reviewing this policy, we need to review, update, so that we have current a new one that will take us to 2025. It is also in a requirement in our Tobacco Control Act of 2016. There is a particular section that requires this body to review and update policies.
According to health experts, combating tobacco control and use is a complex issue, hence the need for multi-sectoral participants and approach to ensure tobacco-free Gambia. For the news, I am Aissatou Jata Gassama.
The National Council for Civic Education, in partnership with the Association of Non-Governmental Organizations and United Democracy Fund, have concluded a 5-day community outreach tour on democratic governance, civil rights and duties of citizens. This forum was recently held on the Kumbo South settlement of Katong. Majan Baro has the details.
The Community Sensitization Forum by the NCCE is one of the effective means of reaching out to Gambians, especially on issues of democracy. The theme for this event is Consolidating Good Governance and Human Rights in the Gambia. The program attracted scores of people the opportunity to participate and share their experience on issues of democracy and human rights in the country. The program manager, NCCE, Yusuf Bojang, described the tour as successful, adding that it has contributed a lot in changing the mindsets and understanding of many Gambians about democracy as well as their civil rights and duties as citizens.
We are in December, and by 2021, from January, the election years will start changing, and that I mean we'll be going for the voter registration, and all these are things that require sensitization. People need to know why are they registering. People need to know what is the essence of voting. People need to know what is the value of being a citizen.
In addressing the gathering, Ansumana Yabo, Senior Civil Education Officer, NCCE, stressed the need for Gambians to know and understand what democracy is all about, knowing their civil rights and how government is running the affairs of the country, including state funds, institutions, and agencies. Many people don't understand what democracy is all about, but instead they keep insulting on social media, causing violence, which is very wrong. Our political and tribal differences should not cause violence among ourselves as citizens. Program Officer Aminata Diouf's speech was centered on civil rights, responsibilities and duties of a citizen. She unfolded the nature of a democratic state, which includes gender equality and equity, citizens' participation in lawmaking, giving equal opportunity to physically challenged persons, amongst others. According to Aminata, our collective participation is necessary in developing our communities and the country at large. The natives of Katong, including Dembo Mane and Fatunjayo Jata, took turns to commend the NCCE and their partners for coming up with such an important program at a time when the country is preparing for elections. The meeting is very important because it has enabled us to properly understand what democracy is. I personally was having wrong perception of democracy. Thanks to this program, I can now understand very well what democracy is all about.
I urge the elected National Assembly members and councillors to heed to their campaign promises and work together with their electorates for the development of their respective wards and constituencies.
It is believed that the Kato meeting has cleared the misconception that many have about democracy, tribalism, politics, and religion, which were outlined by participants as the main cause of violence clashes in the Gambia. However, it is advised that people should forget about their differences and work together for the socio-economic development of the country. Majan Baro for GRTS News.
Meanwhile, officials of the National Environment Agency have organized a training program for senior personnel of the Gambia Police Force on environmental legislation. The capacity enhancement program seeks to enforce environmental laws and penalties surrounding law offenses. By Ibrahim Cham has the details.
Environmental legislation is a set of laws presented by the government in protecting the environment against hazardous practices, be it terrestrial, aquatic, and atmospheric. The Gambia's Foundation for Environmental Protection is the Environmental Management Act. It includes regulations to address the use of hazardous chemicals and pesticides, prevention of waste dumping, and the ban on plastic bags, amongst others. According to officials, littering is the most common offense.
You know, if you go to the highway, people plying the highway in their vehicle, you know, they buy drinks, you know, the empty can is thrown away. Those who smoke cigarette, while they are walking in the street, they are in the habit of throwing their cigarette butts. Those who are in their homes are in the habit of coming up with their dirty water and pour it in the public street. You know, the commonest offenses are littering related.
Such practices come with heavy penalties, ranging from $1,000 to $50 million.
Discharge of wastewater from your compound into the public street, be it you perforated a hole on your fence, and when you take bath in your bathroom, this water gets discharged into the public street, or you launder and then come and pour your dirty water in the public street. That attracts a fine from $1,000 to $5,000 if you are convicted in a court.
The National Environment Agency and the Gambia Police Force have signed a memorandum of understanding since 2016, which is to assist both parties in the enforcement of environmental legislation.
Implementation of the memorandum of understanding that exists between the Gambia Police Force and the National Environment Agency, and two, it's also part of this capacitization of necessary institutions to be able to implement the necessary environmental laws that are supposed to be enforced in this country.
Dr. Dauda Bani serves as the Deputy Executive Director of the National Environment Agency. He said building the capacities of law enforcement officers will prevent hazardous activities against the environment.
So without their active participation, these laws and regulations become dead letters. The police are primarily responsible for the prosecution of such crimes against the state, and such should be also in better position to understand the content of these laws and legislation to better apply them when the need arises.
According to officials, laws are meant to be enforced and penalties must be sanctioned on offenders, and the police play a pivotal role in upholding environmental legislation. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Cham.
Well, we will be back with news from outside the Gambia right after this break. Do stay. Welcome back, and now to Nigeria, where the country may be heading towards a severe food insecurity as food reserves continue to decline along ruining space of conflict between the farmers and the herders. An insurgency in the country's northeast have resulted to a full-blown insecurity. The Farmers Association said this alongside issues of climate change and the disruption caused by the coronavirus pandemic has destabilized the food production chain across the country. CGTN Kelechi Emekalam has details in this report.
Emmanuel Wosu runs this fish farm in the outskirts of Nigeria's capital, Abuja. In the past, he and some of his workers would spend the night on the farm tending to the fish. That determined the output of their harvests. But now Wosu and his team work hurriedly to leave the farm before dark, as it has become more unsafe. Farmers around here have suffered series of attacks. This is affecting their productivity.
Since the insecurity in the country, all the storage systems have been demolished. That is the danger. This place those days, by this time, we have every pond stocked. And when you want to sell, you are sure you want to sell about 20 to 30 tons. But this day, walk around, you can only see about 2 or 3 tons, which because we are not sure of the security. So we take less risk so that to enable us to avert much of the loss. And that is why it is dangerous for the nation, and that is why it is dangerous for even the populace, and that's why the increasing hunger will continue.
Farmers Association has reported a worrying decline in food reserves. The country's food stock is less than 30,000 metric tons, grossly insufficient for the country's 200 million strong population. This is following a consistent surge in farmers' insecurity. The north, which is a seedling nestle for Nigeria, has become a hotspot for bandit attacks, insurgency, and clashes between farmer and herders. A dangerous trend for a nation making diversification efforts towards agriculture.
No need to look for employment. The empty lands is enough to give us what to eat. If people are being harnessed together, the clusters come together, there is acres of 100 acres of land that people can go and farm, government supporting them. There's acres area that people can go and fish, government supporting them. But when they are not sure of sleeping there, farmers sleep in the farm. That's what you call for. But when you can't sleep there, why are you there? Many of them are killed.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, 9.8 million Nigerians are already facing severe food crisis. It projects the numbers could go up to 13.8 million without urgent intervention. This is as Nigerians grapple with severe economic hardship and unemployment. The United Nations warned that continued violence combined with climate change and COVID-19 disruptions will hamper food production. With the already depleted food reserve, many fear that food scarcity could worsen across Nigeria. Kelechi Emekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
Now, more and more countries are banning British travelers as they try to contain a new and more infectious strain of the coronavirus. More than 30 countries and regions have suspended passenger flights from the United Kingdom. Some countries like Saudi Arabia and Ireland have also halted ferry arrivals. France is cutting all travel links with Britain, including flight deliveries for 48 hours. Meanwhile, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is currently giving an address at every meeting on this situation. Let's take a listen.
With our colleagues, with our friends around the world, as we have from the beginning, to develop new treatments and to develop new vaccines, as we have, and by the way, I can today announce that over 500,000 people, more than 500,000 people in the UK have now received their first dose. As we've seen throughout this pandemic, this virus, alas, can move all too swiftly from one nation to another, but it is steadily being defeated by an international response, and an international response that is bringing the hope of vaccines to the entire world, and in that the UK will continue to play its full part. I now hand over to Secretary of State for Transport, Grant.
Thank you very much, PM. It's just worth knowing what's going on in Kent. Before I came here, I checked on the latest numbers. There were...
Well, now a look at the weather update courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
Hello viewers, this is the latest weather report from the Central Forecast Office and I am Musa Balde. First we start with the summary. The past 24 hours was characterized by cool and occasionally breezy winds during the morning and warm and sunny during the afternoon, with hazy conditions over some places. Tonight, weather will be mostly cool and cloudless across the entire country. Tomorrow, it will be cool and occasionally breezy during the morning, becoming warm and sunny as the day progresses. Winds will be mainly northeasterly across the entire country, with speed ranging from 5 to 20 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be 17 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul area and all over River region, 18 degrees Celsius over West Coast region, 16 degrees Celsius over North Bank, Central and over River region. Maximum temperatures will be 34 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul area, 36 degrees Celsius over West Coast and North Bank region, while the rest of the country will record 36 degrees Celsius. Now over to the marine forecast. Low tide will be 0.6 meters at 11 a.m. and 0.7 meters at 11 p.m. High tide will be 1.5 meters at 4 a.m. and 1.3 meters at 5 p.m. Waves will be 1 meter high with northwesterly swells. The sun is expected to rise at 7:26 and will set at 18:43. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
And now to end the news, a quick look at our top stories once again. Crisscrossing the length and breadth of the country, President Adama Barrow continues his Meet the People tour with meetings in the Lower River region. Agriculture Minister Ami Fabure has revealed a massive investment plan by government to boost agricultural production with staggering $80 million project for agricultural development. The Minister of Lands has inaugurated a magnificent multipurpose facility by Koina Charity Association, the Gambia. Stakeholders validate a multi-sectoral document on the National Tobacco Control Policy 2021-2025. Plus, senior personnel of the Gambia Police Force have been honing their skills on environmental legislation courtesy of the National Environment Agency. And in other news, Nigeria is expected to experience acute food insecurity as food reserves continue to decline along running space of conflicts. Well, that was all we had time for in today's edition of the news from me and the entire news team. Thanks for the pleasure of your company, and do stay tuned to watch more of our interesting programs on GRTS. Do have a pleasant evening.